Hi, my name is Marla Menchaca. I'm a biology teacher at Round Rock High School located in Round Rock, Texas. Round Rock, Texas is just northeast of Austin, which is the capital of Texas. I'm here because I'm going to explain to you how we are using Explain Everything for our students and the flipped model of instruction that we use. The biology is required by all incoming freshmen. Round Rock High School is a large high school. We usually have between 900 and 1,000 freshmen every year, and it is a required course for all of these students.
So let's talk about what the flipped classroom is and how we use it at Round Rock High School. We currently have 7 biology teachers that teach this large class of freshmen, and for our flipped classroom model that we've been using for a number of years, we initially introduced the content in some sort of engagement activity so that they are aware of the new content, but we flipped the classroom by having them watch for homework an instructional interactive video that goes through the basics of the content so they're familiar with it before they come back to class. So this model actually does that lecture at home, and we follow Bloom's taxonomy, and it will hit at this lower level so that we're not doing this in the classroom. That then allows us to use classroom time to help students take that content to the higher levels of understanding, applying, analyzing, etc. As I said previously, we've been using the flipped model, but we're restricted in what we could include in the flipped videos. It also, anytime we were recording, if there was an error made, we had to re-record the entire video. It was very difficult to edit anything. It was really a recreation. And so we were plus we wanted to be able to write on the slides in the video as we were going along to give the students further instruction. So in 2019-2020 academic year, that summer prior, we had discovered Explain Everything and began using that because we love the whiteboard application to create our flipped videos. Initially, they were just really simple, taking images from off the internet and adding our writing and things like that. And as time progressed, we became more and more adventurous as we learned to use Explain Everything and are now creating our own images, adding lots of extras in, lots of different variations to create our own unique and targeted flipped videos for our students. These are some examples of our own created images from our flipped videos. As you can see, it includes images as well as writing. A lot of these are being filled in as it's a video as it goes through. It's great for our ELL students, our English language students, because they can see an image and they can see the words there as it is being described and talked about. So they're getting layers of support with their language development. And this also lets us target exactly what we want to cover in our videos. We often use arrows to point to images we want them to focus on. We'll highlight words. We'll highlight certain areas that are important, circle. It's great for marking things as we're going through the video. And so the student can focus in on what we are targeting and understanding. It helps to guide them, taking notes, lots of different uses in that vein. Explain Everything also lets us embed real-world connections. We can connect our concepts to things in the students' world that they already have knowledge about and make those connections, and makes it easier for them to understand the vocabulary. The vocabulary is very complex for biology, and by seeing an image of something they're familiar with and connecting it to a term they're not familiar with makes it easier to understand. The students are also hearing all of this described in one of their teacher's voices, so they don't have that disconnect of watching a video somebody else made. their videos are made by the teachers that they're familiar with. This year, due to the pandemic, our classes were mostly virtual. There was not that ability to do the hands-on, and so I actually came up with an idea to actually make our labs virtual too, but not just a description and a written format. I actually used Explain Everything to record actual labs and embed slides where there was data. So this allowed me to, instead of just recording a lab being done, which would last an hour and a half, I could break it up into the portions that the students actually needed to see and have them focused on what was important in the lab, and so make the lab video much, much shorter. Often they were only about 15 minutes long, and so that allowed them to see the lab, see it being done in real life, seeing the data and being able to collect the data so that they could go ahead and go and analyze and hit those higher levels of blooms. Even though we will be back in person this coming year, I believe we'll continue to use this aspect because we often have students that miss a lab and have struggled in the past with how to have the lab made up. It's often very difficult to reset up a lab. It takes a long time, and have often had alternative assignments which are not always as good for the students. By using this, the students will actually get to experience the lab even if they missed it, and have the data and be able to do the same analysis that the students that were in class were able to do. So I've been talking about using Explain Everything to actually create our videos. However, the presentation to the student is not just a video, it is an interactive video. And so in order to have it interactive, we have taken our Explain Everything video that we've done and used it through Edpuzzle so that we are able to embed questions. We can have the students watch the video, they are prevented from skipping it, and we can assess for understanding at various points along the way throughout the video. So that gives that interactive component. These videos allow the student to stop at any point as they're taking notes and then continue on. They can rewind and rewatch. They're able to access these videos throughout the entire year, so they can always go back and review. It makes it nice for all of our students for reviewing for tests. It makes it especially nice for our English language learners or those that are struggling with the content to be able to stop and pause and rewind and re-listen, and something that they could not do in the classroom, so that they get a good foundation before we go on to the higher levels of applying and analyzing, etc. So Explain Everything has been great for us. Let us make our videos very customizable, very personable, and unique for our students.